including me in this gathering in which we are actually coming to the closure of the CSW, but of course never the closure to the issues that are taken up by that commission. I want to start with a story, and I think this story for me is a paradox of the myth that has been captured and what is actually taking place in before our very eyes in today's world. And the story is about a Shakti. Her name was Draupadi, and she was placed in a situation in which her husband actually put her as a stake in a chess game and lost the game, and therefore lost her over to the opposition. And the opposition then started stripping her because they wanted to take revenge. And of course, taking revenge, whether it's war, whether it's crippling a family, it starts with the women. So he started to strip her of her clothing. And she, of course, called on all the seniors, all the senior men in the court to save her from this. And no one, not one of them, came to her rescue. So eventually she called on God. And calling on God, they did start stripping her of her sari, but they never came to the end of the sari because her dignity was protected. It was upheld by this force that we sometimes refer to as God, as the divine, as the source. And so that story is a myth. What we saw happening last week, in which a group of men again scrutinizing a woman to such an extent, it was almost as though their attempt was not so much to scrutinize her at the level of her abilities and her capacities and her academic qualifications, but also I wonder if it was to do exactly that, strip her of her dignity. And how is that dignity then upheld? And in between, I kept thinking of the song that Whitney Houston sang. And that is, they can't take away my dignity because there is a greater love, the greatest love that is there inside of me. And so this is how I look at this divine feminine power of Shakti. I think it is a Shakti that is challenged. It is challenged throughout history. And it is something I feel that women are aware of in a way, and she turns to a spiritual path to uphold this divine feminine power because she knows it is connected to something higher than just the things that could take away that from her. So I feel that when we're looking at it in relation to both men and women, we must see it as such. We must see Shakti as a strength, and Shakti means power. And Shakti is not just power that emerges out of human souls, but it is actually the feminine power of God. Shiv Shakti, this badge I wear that you must see me wearing all the time, at the top of it is written Shiv Shakti. And I love it because it reminds me what I'm connected to and who I'm connected to. I'm connected to the matriarchal power of God. I'm connected to God as the mother. And I draw that divine feminine power in my connection when I do my meditation. And we call it Raj Yoga. Now, I also feel that in my reflections, I like to share that Shakti, this divine power that comes from the source, is actually emerges out of a consistent practice we must have, a practice that we must have every day. Because what this practice allows us to do is, Denise talked about the physical heart of the body. Well, there is a heart in the soul as well. And the heart in the soul with the divine power allows us to emerge or to radiate the vibrations of pure feelings, of goodness, of benevolence, of loving kindness. And that helps to relieve others from pain, from grief, from crisis, from chaos. And so it is really a practical thing that emerges out of this divine power that is called Shakti, that helps others, but it's qualitative. Maybe you would never be able to measure it, but it is qualitative and it does work. And that is why I'm so aware that when someone calls me and says, could you do this? Someone is suffering, someone is going through a challenge. Could you help them through your meditation? So what is it that I do? I reach out with the power of this Shakti, a Shakti that I become an instrument for when I connect to the source. So I'd like to take you through a little reflection in a meditative way. And I'd like for us to look at this Shakti inside of the soul, but it lives within the heart of the soul. And it emerges with pure feelings coming out of the soul. But Shakti is also enlightenment. So within the pure feelings of the soul, there is wisdom. And so these pure feelings called Shakti would not be just an emotional reaction, or it will not be feelings that people call as vulnerability or weakness of a woman, but they're feelings filled with wisdom and enlightenment. So if we would just sit quietly and center ourselves and connect to the soul, the Shakti, and for this soul to connect to the source, the Shiv Shakti. And to allow ourselves to just be. In this being, let us push the boundaries of the mental silos we carry. Let us expand our hearts to build trust. Let us experience connecting to a unifying source and to draw spiritual strength and to sharpen the spiritual skills of awareness of nature, of behavior. Being a Shakti is to be compassionate, connect the heart to the flame of loving kindness, a kindness that uplifts others. the divine feminine Shakti is empowerment. Affirm the faith in God's matriarchal power. Connect to this Shakti for strength and support. Rest in the lap of the mother for healing and nourishment. Emerge the essentials of this higher consciousness called the divine feminine Shakti. And let the heart of the soul be the sacred space that continuously ignites good wishes, pure feelings, and benevolent thoughts. Now let us together reach out with our generosity of spirit, our loving kindness of heart, and embrace the women, the girls, the children, the men, Mother Earth, and her entire family of animals and biodiversity. Let our divine feminine Shakti endlessly flow. Om Shanti.